All right, let's get right to it. You've got that safety supervisor interview on the calendar, and your OSHA 30 card is ready to go. Our mission today is simple. We're going to turn that card from just a piece of plastic into the key that gets you that promotion. We're going to show you exactly how to walk into that interview and prove you're not just a worker with more training, you're a leader.
I hear this all the time out on the job site. It's got to be one of the biggest myths out there. People think, oh, I just sat in a class for 20 more hours, heard the same old stuff, and got a different card. Well, today, we are going to blow that myth right out of the water.
Because what if I told you that card isn't about more hours? It's about a completely different mindset. What if it's the actual documented proof that you've been trained to go from protecting yourself to protecting the entire crew? Because that's exactly what it is. And that makes it the most powerful tool you have when you sit down for that interview.
So here's our game plan for this explainer. We'll start by defining that critical shift from a worker's mindset to a supervisor's, according to OSHA itself. Then, we're going to dig right into the curriculum for the hard proof. We'll zero in on the one module that changes everything, show you how to leverage that DOL card for more authority and a bigger paycheck, and then we'll map out your next career move.
But hey, before we get into the nitty-gritty of these leadership modules, do yourself a solid and hit that subscribe button for HSE Study. Honestly, it's the best way to make sure you're ready to absolutely nail every safety interview that comes your way.
All right, first things first, we have to understand the core idea here. Why do these two different cards even exist? Well, it all boils down to a massive, fundamental difference in responsibility, and it's a difference that OSHA itself officially defines. This right here, this sums up the entire conversation. Look, the OSHA 10 is all about one thing, you, protecting yourself. It gives an entry-level worker the basic tools to spot a hazard and not get hurt. But the OSHA 30? That's about protecting the crew. Your whole world expands from me to we, and that right there is the supervisor mindset.
And hey, don't just take my word for it. This is straight from the horse's mouth, OSHA's own definition. The 10-hour is for awareness. The 30-hour is for people with safety responsibility. And let me tell you, that little phrase, safety responsibility, that's your golden ticket. It's code for management, oversight, and liability.
So where's the hard evidence?
Okay, let's pull back the curtain and look at the official course curriculum. This is where we find the undeniable black and white proof that the OSHA 30 isn't just a safety course. It's a management level credential.
Just look at these numbers. The jump from a half hour on PPE to 2 full hours, that's big. The leap from 2 hours of electives to 12, huge. But the real kicker, the line item that changes the entire game, is that last one, managing safety and health. It's not even required for the 10-hour worker. But for you, the 30-hour supervisor, it's 2 mandatory hours. And even in the topics they both cover, it's a whole different ballgame. The focus 4 hazards, we're talking falls, electrocutions, struck by, caught in between, that training gets a 50% boost in time. And why is that? It's because a supervisor doesn't just need to spot a fall hazard. You need to understand the engineering, the planning, and the controls for every possible fall scenario on that entire job site. And that brings us to the heart of the matter, that single line item in the curriculum. It's so important, it deserves its own section. This right here is the part of your training that you are going to build your interview answers around. 2 hours. I know it might not sound like a lot, but in the world of OSHA training, these 2 hours are absolutely everything. This is the official line in the sand that separates a worker who simply recognizes a hazard from a leader who actively manages a safety program. So what exactly are you learning in this special module? Well, it's not just about spotting hazards. We're talking about the architecture of an entire safety program. You're learning how to conduct formal job site inspections, how to lead an accident investigation, and, maybe most critically, how to communicate safety rules to your crew. This is Management 101, sponsored by OSHA. So here's how you put it to work in that interview. When the hiring manager asks you these big picture questions, you don't give some vague, fluffy answer. No, you reference your formal training. You say, well, as part of my OSHA 30 certification, I was specifically trained in developing injury and illness prevention programs. See, you have a blueprint for every single management question they can possibly throw at you.
The OSHA 30 also completely rewires how you think. A 10-hour worker, their job is down at the bottom, right? Use the PPE. But a 30-hour supervisor, you're trained to master the entire hierarchy of controls. You learn to solve problems from the top down, to try and eliminate a hazard long before you ever have to ask a worker to just put on a pair of gloves. That's strategic thinking, not just blind compliance.
Okay, so you've got the knowledge, you've got the mindset. Now for the fun part. How do we turn that little plastic Department of Labor card into real-world authority and, let's be honest, a much bigger paycheck?
You start by understanding its legal power. You see, this isn't just some voluntary program everywhere you go. In some of the biggest construction markets in the country, this card is a legal mandate. It's a requirement for anyone who's in a leadership role. Your certification isn't just a nice-to-have, it's your license to lead. I mean, look at this. In Nevada, it's black and white. Every single construction supervisor must have an OSHA 30, period. In a place like New York City, you can't even start the process to get your mandatory 62-hour site safety training card until you have your OSHA 30. It is the legal foundation of site leadership. This is what you bring up when you're talking salary. That card, backed by the law and all that management training, it gives you the authority to sign off on hot work permits. It means you are qualified to manage a surprise OSHA audit, and it gives you the power to look at a multi-million-dollar operation and say, stop, this is unsafe. That kind of authority has serious value. And this is that value quantified. That level of responsibility, the ability to prevent a catastrophic failure, to keep the company from getting hit with massive fines, that justifies a major salary increase. We're talking $10,000, even $20,000 more. This isn't just a cost of living bump. It's a promotion based on a certified, proven, and often legally required leadership skill set. So let's bring it all home. How do you actually reframe your thinking and your resume to make this next big career move happen?
Here's the key takeaway for both your resume and that interview. You need to stop thinking of your OSHA 30 as just a safety card. It's not. It is a management credential. It is third-party proof from the U.S. Department of Labor that you have been formally trained in the principles of site leadership.
So I want you to do something for me right now, if you can. Pull out your resume. Take a hard look at the certification section. Does it just list OSA 30? Or does it say OSA 30 hour for construction supervisors, maybe with a few bullet points on safety program management and accident investigation? You have to frame it for the job you want, not the job you have. And hey, if you look at your resume and all you see is an OSHA 10, well, now you know exactly what your next step is. It's time to upgrade your skills and get the credentials to match. Make sure you're subscribed because our very next explainer is a deep dive on how to ace the hardest questions on that OSHA 30 final exam. Trust me, you're not going to want to miss it.